Do you think it's time to recognize a Palestinian state?
I think that's a profound question that arouses a lot of the biggest problems that have happened with Israel's survival, or Israel's right to survival.
What's up, y'all? Failed former presidential candidate, and hopefully, if there is a God, future failed presidential candidate, Mayor Pete is putting on a master class on how to say a lot of words when asked a direct question while never actually answering, as he sits down with Pod Save America in his Say Nothing World Tour. I think highlighting these type of showings from somebody who's trying to lay the groundwork for a political future is important, because later he's going to talk with so much clarity that he never had before. So let's watch some clips and I'll give my thoughts on it afterwards.
More than half of Senate Democrats just voted to oppose the sale of over $500 million worth of U.S. bombs and guns to Israel. Would you have voted to oppose sending those weapons?
I think we need to insist that if American taxpayer funding is going to weaponry that is going to Israel, that is not going to things that shock the conscience. And look, we see images every day that shock the conscience. So much of this is complicated. But what's not complicated is that if a child is starving because of a choice made by a government, that is unconscionable. And I think especially including voices who care about Israel, who believe in Israel's right to exist, who have stood with Israel in response to the unbelievable cruelty and terrorism of October 7th. I think there's a reason why so many of those voices are speaking up now too. Because this is not just something that is on its face and in itself a moral catastrophe. It is also a catastrophe for Israel for the long run.
He can't just answer yes or no. He has to let you know that he doesn't really disagree with what's going on. He just disagrees with the PR. He doesn't like that it's being shown. He doesn't like that we get to see it and quote unquote shock our conscience. Not that it's happening, not that they're using our money and guns and planes and everything else to do a massacre every day, but that we get to see it. It's hurting them in the long run. That's what he said. He's talking about PR. That's it. That's what he disagrees with the most. Because don't get it twisted, Mayor Pete is a very well-funded mouthpiece. He says a whole bunch of nothing, but he makes sure in that world of nothing, he highlights what's actually important to the people that fund his career.
How do you think the next administration should handle our relationship with Israel? Do you think it should change based on what Netanyahu has done the last several years?
Well, certainly Netanyahu can't be the only voice or the only compass for what should happen in the U.S.-Israel relationship. And no matter how strongly, or especially because of how strongly you might believe in Israel's right to exist and defend itself, you don't have to make excuses for the choices that Netanyahu is making, especially because they are often made not only in the name of the Israeli people, but in the name of a U.S. alliance. I think that we, as Israel's strongest ally and friend, you put your arm around your friend when there's something like this going on and talk about what we're prepared to do together. It certainly cannot be what we see right now from this administration and this president talking about beachfront property in Gaza before he's prepared to talk about human suffering in Gaza.
This is the next wave of talking points, trying to make it seem like everything that's going on in Israel is only Netanyahu. And like the rest of the country, the people who actually live there don't support that. But as you can see here, a recent poll from Israel's Democratic Institute says that 79%, 4 out of every 5 people who live there, are not troubled by the famine in Gaza. They're not troubled by it. Not that they don't believe it's happening, not that they're ignorant to the fact that it's happening, not that they have no idea that it's happening. They're not troubled by it. They know and they couldn't care any less. So that's not just a one-man bad type of thing. So let's not blame only one person. If 4 out of 5 people support what's going on, it's clearly not just one man. He's just carrying out their mandate. And if you disagree with what he's doing and you say it's evil, then there's a bigger conversation you have to have after that. If you then realize that he's supported and 4 out of 5 people don't really care about what's going on, it's not just one person.
Do you think it's time to recognize a Palestinian state?
I think that's a profound question that arouses a lot of the biggest problems that have happened with Israel's survival, Israel's right to survival in the diplomatic scene. And many of the people who have taken that step historically have done so for different reasons than what we see happening with European countries. I think we need to step back and we need to do whatever it takes to ensure that there is a real two-state solution and that no one, not even the likes of Netanyahu, can veto the international community's commitment to a two-state solution where you have Palestinians and Israelis living with safety, with security, with rights. I believe that can happen, but we have to actually show some commitment to it.
A Mayor Pete presidency would be more of the same. And actually, it might be even worse because Democrats will just fall asleep, go back to brunch, have their wine, and get to forget about what's going on in their world everywhere. That's what makes people like this so dangerous and insidious. That they pretend to be the good guys while actually never advocating for anything positively good. He doesn't want any action, just ideas to sit down one day and communicate and have a meeting about one day doing something. Said it before and I'll say it again. Fuck Mayor Pete. And it's not just him. It's also people who knowingly push talking points of the most powerful and push messages to their unknowing audience like Joe Rogan. So if you want to see Kyle Kalinske call out Joe Rogan again, click this video. Peace.